Alright, what is up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris and today I'm back with another video here. And unfortunately, the Flyers lose this game 4-3 to the LA Kings in overtime. I don't know, man. I mean, it's very frustrating to lose a game like that. I mean, to me, I felt like the play at the end of the game could have been called. It was... I understand it was, a play at the net and D'Angelo kind of bumped into him, but he also did get kind of held to the ice as well. There could have been a holding call. Unfortunately, that wasn't called, and at times it felt like the Flyers, they really missed a few that could have been called on LA in this game. The Kings are very aggressive in the defensive zone. They don't give much and really any room. That showed for most of this game. The Flyers, they had leads 1-0, 2-1, 3-2, and still ended up losing this game. Lines were the exact same as they've been. Farabee, Cates, Konechny, Van Riemsdyk, Frost, Tippett, Hayes, Lawton, Allison, Delorier, Brown, McEwen, Sanheim, D'Angelo, Provorov, and York, Sealer, and Ristolainen, and Carter Hart was in net. So 2-2 for the first period, and it was, again, both teams had some power plays. There was a couple of chances early. Kings hit the post to start off the game, and then the Flyers get the first power play of the game. It was a delay game on Phil Deneau. Couple looks for the Flyers. Frost had a pass in tight that got blocked. They had a couple looks, but a lot of passing, but nothing too crazy. Flyers would get the first goal of this game though. Van Riemsdyk would score, and it was a play where it just formed out of nowhere. Like Tippett just kind of kept it alive, pass right over to Van Riemsdyk, slam dunk, 1-0 Flyers. Hart had a really nice save off the rush on Kempe. Frost had a pretty nice defensive play getting back on a play where the Kings could have had an odd man look at the net, and then the Kings would get a power play and score 4 seconds into it. Kopitar scores from the high slot. That was their bread and butter on the power play all night. That one touch pass from the quarterback to the guy on the flank right to Kopitar in the slot. They scored on it early, and then outside of that, the Flyers pretty much defended it well for most of the game. Right after that, Allison, 2-1, beautiful play. Tip in the middle from Hayes. He gets to it, fights off one, another rebound, shot, just gets right in there, just creates havoc and slam dunk at the side of the net for Allison. Beautiful play. He's just digging away, and ends up, potting the loose change in front. And Flyers had the 2-1 lead, but then Kopitar would score, and it was a similar play from the goal the other night from Scheifele that D'Angelo decided to skate around the net. Well, Sanheim did it this time, and nobody picked up Kopitar trailing. It was a little bit different. It wasn't a play out to the front and then down low again. It was just a pass right out in front. Sanheim went behind the net and didn't have the angle, and then no other Flyer picked up Kopitar, so he gets his second of the period. And just a breakdown in coverage and a couple penalties here. Kings will get a power play. It was a hook on Sanheim. Again, outside of that, the penalty kill was good. The Kings were 1 for 5 on the power play tonight. Flyers went 4 for 5 on the penalty kill. Good job in that area. And like the penalty kill has been pretty good for most of the season so far. There's been a lot of good things from it. Ristolainen, I think, has really blossomed in one of the team's best penalty killers up until this point. Outside of that, though, the Flyers kill that one off. Then they get a power play with 1:46 left. Couple chances from York and Hayes. Not a bad period. It was open, offensive. A lot of chances for both teams. And in the second, the Kings would get 2 power plays back to back. They had a one-timer that Hart made a really nice save on. And then there was a trip on Delorier where he got called before that. So 2 plays, and they called Van Riemsdyk on a trip before, Delorier on the trip on the second one, and then the Kings, they had some pressure, and then the Flyers had a really good shift here from the third line. Allison had a pass in front for D'Angelo. He got stoned by Copley. It was a nice play, and they weren't able to score there, but then they get another goal. Frost throws it towards the net, and it looked like it was a set play. It just kind of deflected and ended up going right to Ristolainen. And again, nice play by Frost just to get it through. Ristolainen scores on the backhand. He must love scoring against California teams for his second of the season. And the Flyers had a pretty good period up until this point. Like, you survived 2 penalty kills, you got the goal, and there was around 9-10 minutes left, and they pretty much owned the rest of the play in this period. McEwen almost had a play in the middle where he could have got a high quality shot off from the slot. It just rolled away from him. Van Riemsdyk had a pass in tight, beautiful pass or Van Riemsdyk had a chance in tight, excuse me. It was a nice pass by Frost to get it to him. York had a chance off the rush. Hart had a really nice save on a 2-on-1. And the Kings get a power play. It was a boarding on a hit on from Ristolainen. So they called that. And Hart had a really nice save. I mean, he came up big. I mean, the Kings really tested the Flyers for most of this period. And then they score. And it's just... like, it's little things like this where they play good for X amount of time. And then one simple play where all it has to do is just to chip off the glass, or somebody has to be there. And Frost didn't help because he didn't pick up the eventual goal scorer for LA. I believe how you pronounce it is Fagemo. I think that's how you say his name. And it was kind of just a breakdown, and nobody picked up him in the slot. Shoots it, tie game, it posted in, and it would have been a good period if the Kings didn't tie the game off of a turnover, and the Flyers would get a power play. It carried over at the end of the period, and there was like a minute 22 that carried over, and had a few looks, but ends up getting killed off. Kings were really all over the Flyers for the first handful of minutes. Hart had a really nice save in the third early. McEwen had a chance in the slot. Flyers had the best shift of the period. Came from like the third and fourth line. It was like a mix. It was like middle change. And they had a few looks at the net. They had plays where they just won puck battles low. Because the biggest thing out of this game was that LA was just, for a good chunk of the third, everything that the Flyers sent in was stopped by Copley. So it was just an easy breakout for LA. He got the stick back there, sent it right back out to any of their defensemen, and they just moved it out of the ice, or moved it up the ice. And they had a really good period. Connecting had a shot off the rush. Flyers had some momentum. Lawton had a chance late. It was a good shift by the third line. And then we go to overtime, and they did that set play again where they did Lawton on the faceoff. Connecting comes out. And then Fiala scored in overtime. And again, I felt like that could have been called. And I think I'm saying that now because I'm more frustrated that there were other ones in the game that weren't called. Just very frustrating, honestly. And again, it's frustrating, but it's not like... Again, I don't want to say it doesn't mean anything, because it does. But it's not like it's, there were like 1 point out of the playoffs or anything like that. And I'm not saying that like doesn't mean anything. I think what I'm trying to say is like, there's still teaching moments out of this game, and there's still things that you could look at as positives, even though they lost this game. Other times, when the points are more tight and the division is more condensed and you need as many points as possible, there's literally no room for error. And in games like this, where you're going up against a team who's overly matched in LA, and you already beat them this year, and it was a tight game. So it is what it is. Unfortunately, now the Flyers have 2 games left before break for the All-Star weekend. You have Minnesota on Thursday, and that's going to be a tough game. The Wild are a pretty good team, third in the Central at the moment, and then you have Winnipeg again, and they're third in the NHL with wins at home with 17. So it's going to be tough. We'll see what happens in the next coming days. Let me know your guys' thoughts below on the game tonight against LA. And I hope you guys enjoyed the new setup, new desk as well. I can't really see it in the video, but awesome fun stuff, and I've been getting some new things for the setup as well. Podcast is going to be this Friday night at 8 o'clock with Craig Berube, who's current head coach of the St. Louis Blues and former Flyer, and also Nick McElwain from 93.3 WMMR. That'll be like a double interview episode, and already recorded those, so those will be played in. And thanks guys so much. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Unfortunately, again, tough loss for the Flyers tonight, but hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you all again soon.